Okay, so digital filing is kind of a scary thing to people because you can't physically or tangibly touch what you're trying to file. Many of us have gone through the stress of filing something digitally and then not being able to find it when we need it again. And so that gives us a little bit of a mistrust with computers and the whole idea of filing things digitally. I hope that this little short training video will help you recognize and learn how to utilize your filing, your digital filing spaces as well as your physical filing spaces. The first thing I want to show you on your computer, you may or may not be aware of, is the Windows Explorer application of your Microsoft Windows software. Down at the bottom left-hand corner of your keyboard, there's a control button that says CTRL on it. Next to that, or somewhere near that button, there's a little black button that has some gray squares on it that look kind of like a window or a Microsoft icon. If you hold that window button down and then press the letter E key at the same time, you end up with a screen that looks like this. This is the Windows Explorer application. Notice on the left-hand side of the screen, there is a list, a folder list, that basically indicates all of the basic places there are storing to store information on your computer. The cell that is highlighted right here, which is this PC, has actually been displayed on the right-hand section of the screen. These are the two folders or drives that reside within this particular place. So basically, it's like looking at an outline view of a paper that you wrote in 5th grade. We learned that the subject or the most important thought happens on the first line, and then we indent to supporting information, and we indent to facts that would support that information. It's the same thing with digital filing. So one of the things I want to show you is how to utilize this feature to do this in a relatively quick manner and save yourself a little bit of time doing it. Under this PC, you'll notice that there is a couple of folders. If we click the gray arrow right here next to this PC, all of that goes away. You only want to be looking at what you're going to be filing. First thing you'll want to do is you'll want to start in a Documents folder. That's the easiest thing to do. My Documents folder here is called OneDrive. That's not really important, so we'll move on from there. But within that folder, there are a couple of other files. You'll want to start by creating a folder for each user of your system. So if this is a laptop or a desktop system that many members of your family use, you're going to want to make sure that they all have a file somewhere in this list. So I notice I have the Melanie's documents, I have Clad's documents, but I'm missing a documents file for my children. So what we're going to do is we're going to create that file now. So up at the top of the screen, there's a little icon that says New Folder. If you're using Windows XP or an older version of Windows, it's going to be somewhere along this top section right here. And it'll just be some words that say New Folder. Or you can right mouse click on OneDrive, and then you can make a new folder that way. So, but that's in Windows XP or older versions of Windows. I'm using Windows 8, so hopefully this will be helpful information to you. Windows 7 operates very similarly. You'll click New Folder, and it'll pop it in at the bottom of the list. And then you'll type in the member of the family's name whose folder that's going to be. For example, this is Adam's Documents. Okay. And then I need one for my other son, Andrew. Whoops. So there we go. Each member of the family now has a folder. I also have folders for general information, family and household. And and folders like that. So just some things to think about. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to learn how to drag and drop files to where they need to go. This particular document is my document, so I need to click on it and hold my mouse button down, and then I'm going to drag it to Melanie's documents. This is also one of my documents. Now let's say both of these are also my documents. I'm going to hold my control button and I'm going to click both of those with my mouse, and then I can drag them both at the same time. If it asks you to replace a file, you can either skip that option and look at it and decide if you want to replace it or not. That one I happen to know is a newer version of a file I already had in that folder. So I'm going ahead and skip to overwrite it. So that all of my actual documents and stuff, all I see here are folders, okay? Let's say I have done this for my whole computer and everything is now in file folders that belong to my family or that make sense to me. Let's look at this documents folder, for example. There's some things in here that don't really belong, and I'd like to be able to delete that folder, but first I've got to move what's in them. I know that this particular little shortcut goes in Andrew's documents because it has his name on it. Both of these check copies go in our family documents folder, and this one goes in my folder. So now I can right mouse click on this documents folder and delete that folder because it's unnecessary. So let's pretend that I have done this to my whole machine, and now I can do the same thing by individual in my family. So we're going to go into my folder for a second, and you'll notice there's lots of documents that have not been appropriately filed. I have decided that these are the categories that make the most sense for the types of things I do in my everyday life. I have a home office, which I do several different types of work. I have church responsibilities that I sometimes have to make documents or pictures for. I have my own personal health and wellness that I work on, and any sort of community projects I might be involved in. You may have different hats that you wear, so those would be addressed in these file folders here. But again, holding the control button, I'm just going to select everything that I can see that goes into one of these folders, and I will drag and drop it in there. This is Andrew's birthday party invite. That doesn't go here, but watch what I do. I hold it down and I drag it over here to the sidebar where I can see Andrew's documents, and I can drop it in there. This actually goes into my home office. This goes into family documents. This goes into community involvement. This goes into Marianne's cupboard. This goes into church stuff. Okay, so now, again, all those things are isolated into the folders they belong in. If I were to go into community involvement, again, I have several community responsibilities I'm involved in. So I would take the document I dropped in there and I would put it where it's supposed to go. That way, when I go to look for files, I know right where they are and they're always where they should be.